Hello and welcome to class number 12 of the UPSC Mains Answer Writing Initiative, a place where we are trying to simplify answer writing for you by decoding a previous year question, seeing what to write, how to write, and then also giving a homework so that you can also write an answer on your own, and I will be happy to check that as well. In the very first video of this entire series, we discussed about the structure of the answer. I hope all of you have been attending all these classes. Also, please make sure you do this homework as well. It will hardly take you 10 to 12 minutes, but it will at least put you in practice of answer writing. If you want the PDF of any of these lectures, it is all available on my Telegram channel. The link is in the description of the video. You can join the Telegram channel to get all the PDF of these lectures. So, what do we have in store for you today? First, a reminder, you can go back to class number 1 of this particular initiative and see how to write and how to structure the particular answer. In the very first class, I discussed about how to write the introduction, the main body, the concluding argument, or the way forward. If you have missed that for any reason whatsoever, please do go and see that part as well. Now let's see what do we have in store for you. Today we have taken up a question from GS3 paper 2023. It's a question related to environment, but it's not a very technical question. Question has 3 parts. First, what is oil pollution? Second part, what are its impacts on the marine ecosystem? And third part, in what way is oil pollution particularly harmful for a country like India? Now, these are the questions which are easier to answer. The reason being, number one, not too technical. You can just think from general knowledge, marine pollution. How does it impact, especially when there are oil spills? There are a lot of oil tankers that due to accidents or crashes, they might leak oil. Now, just think of it from a very common sense point of view. How would it impact? Number one, obviously it will impact the aquatic life. When it impacts the aquatic life, what will happen as a result of it? Livelihood of the fishermen will get impacted who are dependent on catching these fish. Apart from that, it will also impact the food chain of that area. What about the community living in that area? The community living nearby will also face consequences of pollution. So these are very common sense things. Harmful impact on the nearby community, harmful impact on the aquatic life, harmful impact on the food chain, harmful impact on the employment opportunities. So these are the major things that you would have to write. How does it impact India? Again, same points. Since India has such a long coastline, since we have a significant population that is involved in fishery related activities, that is why it is a big concern for India. Now, since this is a question where a particular problem is being discussed, problem is being asked, it is an ideal question where you can write way forward as the concluding argument, where you can give solutions or suggestions. I have told this earlier as well. How when there are questions that talk about a certain problem, a certain issue, in those questions to end the answer in the concluding argument, you can give suggestions or way forward, and this is again an ideal answer for that. One other thing that makes this answer easier is you don't have to think about what to write in the introduction. They are asking you themselves what is oil pollution. So when they ask something very straightforward, this is the introduction right in front of you. Don't think about any other introduction because you will just eat up extra words. Since the first part of the question is straightforward, what is oil pollution? Your introduction has to be a definition of that. So with all these things kept in mind, let's see what to write. So introduction, we will define what is oil pollution. Again, not very difficult. Oil pollution means oil contamination of our water bodies. How do they happen? Due to accidents that involve oil tankers, pipelines, drilling rigs, all other industrial processes can cause these kind of oil pollutions. If you have any example, you can give. Worldwide, there's a very famous example of the BP oil spill, British Petroleum oil spill. You can give this example if you want to. But there are other examples as well, whichever you remember. If there's something at the top of your mind, feel free to give that example in the introduction. But introduction is very straightforward because the question itself asks you what is oil pollution. You can just define it here straightforward. The main body, Main body had two parts. One, they were asking you impact of oil pollution, and then they're asking you specifically for India, how does it impact? So impact on oil pollution on the environment, on the marine ecosystem, very simple. Impacts marine biodiversity. For example, and you can give this in detail, the oil coats the fur of the birds, the marine animals. It damages the gills of the fish, aquatic organs, not allowing them to breathe properly or reproduce. It destroys the habitat. For example, coral reefs, extremely important. Lot of other habitats such as the mangroves, etc. They can kill organisms that play a big role in the entire food chain. All of them can be impacted. Then destruction of food chain, as we discussed. Now over here again, if you have some examples which you might have read about in the current affairs, or let's say in Down to Earth magazine, that this oil spill has caused this problem, feel free to quote these examples. Like I am giving some examples of, let's say, oil spill in the Red Sea that affected availability of food sources for the marine organisms. Similarly, there will be economic impact, fishermen, etc., that fish in those waters, they will be impacted. So again, wherever you have an example to quote, feel free to do that. Now we'll go to specifically India. Now again, the points that you wrote in the main body, how oil pollution impacts marine life, it is the same for India. It's not that India's waters are different. So when the question is asking how does it specifically impact India, you can't repeat the same points. You can't say yes, in India also it impacts employment opportunities. You can't say in India also it impacts food chain. That is very obvious. When they are saying with respect to India, what they are asking you is, why is India also impacted by this? So you have to give connections that India is a country that depends on a lot of activities related to marine or related to water economy. For example, India has a vast coastline of 7,500 km plus, making us susceptible to oil spills and pollution. We have major ports, we have refineries, we have our oil and gas installations. All of them can be at risk if we have a situation of oil pollution. India is also home to multiple biodiversity hotspots. We are one of the few countries in the world that have coral reefs, we have mangroves as well, we have estuaries. All of these require very sensitive environment for their sustenance, for their survival, that can be impacted because of oil spills. Then you will give example of tourism as well. A lot of tourists visit India specifically for our beaches. That can be negatively impacted with oil spills. Wildlife, fishing, aquaculture. Government of India in fact has been spending a lot of money to push farmers, especially in the coastal areas, towards fishing. We have multiple fishery programs, we have multiple schemes that the government runs to encourage people to undertake fishing. It's also a major export, you can write that as well. India exports a lot of marine products, fish and other seafoods that can also be impacted. So all of that makes India highly susceptible to oil pollution, to oil spills, etc. That can be the other part of the main body. As I said, this is an ideal answer for a way forward type of conclusion. Whenever you have a question being asked based on a problem, solutions or suggestions can be the way forward. For example, using measures such as magnetic soap, autonomous robots, ultra absorbent sponges, etc. to look into oil spill. See, it's difficult to avoid oil spill. Any transportation method, be it road, train, air, water, will always have some probability of things going wrong or it being involved in accident. You can't rule out that possibility 100%. So what happens in this case is, since oil spill has happened, the point is, how do you now preserve that, or how do you now clean that up? So suggestion cannot be to avoid oil spill. It's like saying avoid accident. No one does accidents, or no one gets involved in accidents knowingly. It's about doing what you can do after accident has happened. Similarly here also, way forward cannot be to avoid oil spill. That is something that will happen obviously. It is about spending more money in research to ensure that there are enough available ways or available methods to clean up oil as quickly as possible. That was our answer for today. As always, there's a homework once again from GS3 part. This homework is from internal security. The question is, winning hearts and minds in terrorism affected areas is an essential step in restoring the trust of the population. Discuss measures adopted by the government in this regard as part of conflict resolution in Jammu and Kashmir. In internal security, you read about Jammu and Kashmir, you read about the different aspects or different initiatives by the government over the years, specifically to build more confidence and build this communication bridge between the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the government of India. You have to write about that specifically. Write this answer, it will hardly take 10-12 minutes. Send this answer to me if you want. I'll be happy to give you feedback on this email ID. Do keep writing. If you don't begin, you will never be able to improve yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want the PDF, join the Telegram channel. The link is in the description. I will be happy to send it over to you. And also, do keep watching for the other initiatives as well. Have a good day ahead. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.